Russia's war in Ukraine continues to be a hotbed. The whole world is watching this event closely. And Taiwan also held its breath because the event was also a threat to its fate. There are many questions raised in the current situation. Will China use the opportunity of Russia attacking Ukraine as a springboard to attack Taiwan? The US does not send troops to Ukraine, but will it send troops to defend Taiwan? What is the difference between Ukraine and Taiwan? Please stay tuned. Ukraine and Taiwan, two different cases. In the case of Ukraine, the US does not benefit much from the European Union. At the moment, Biden's efforts to incite anti-Russian sentiment have backfired. That is, the war will continue to escalate, and the Ukrainian government seems to be unable to hold out in this war. Now, people have been thinking of an escape route for the Ukraine government as the government of exile. To be frank, the US has no great interest in Ukraine, so the US can only provide military equipment to fortify their position in the area. In case Russia attempts an attack in Ukraine, Washington will react in caution. As is often said, Ukraine, while very important to Russia, is not important to the US and Europe. That is, Ukraine has long been playing a low-key role in the world. Therefore, NATO and the US will not want to fight directly on this front. However, it is a completely different story when it comes to Taiwan. Taiwan is not at a disadvantage. According to the Asia Power Index, the US is the most influential power in the Indo-Pacific. If China tries to invade Taiwan, there will be a number of like-minded regional powers such as Japan, Australia, India, Vietnam, and Indonesia standing by the US side. The US itself has a rich military presence in the region, with the US Navy's 7th Fleet, capable of boosting US aircraft carriers and submarines. Alternatively, US military bases like Guam could be activated to send US bombers to defend Taiwan. It can be seen that Ukraine is a regional problem, but Taiwan is a global problem. If the US loses Ukraine, it is only a matter of phase, and if the US loses Taiwan, it will be a disgrace and a catastrophic failure. The US position will be overthrown. On the China side, if they capture Taiwan, they will have a great fulcrum to unleash a staggering amount of their resources, financial, military, human, and political, to cause problems in other places. Thus, Taiwan is an important bastion against China's expansionism. One can imagine that if China occupied Taiwan, the PLA would be able to gain free access to the Western Pacific with its warships, submarines, and aircrafts. Furthermore, the defenses of the first island chain will be shattered to pieces, with China taking control of the central pillar of the first island chain. Then the fate of Japan and the Philippines would immediately fall into the hands of China, a risk position. Taiwan plays an important role in China's national policy and reputation. It is also vital to the defense capabilities of the United States and its allies in the Western Pacific. Therefore, this democratic island is worthy of support by those interested in the CCP's territorial and military ambitions. In other words, it is extremely difficult for China to invade Taiwan. Save itself, Taiwan is also very proactive and improving its own defense capacity. The secret weapon in Taiwan. Taiwan does not have many of the most formidable weapons. They are not powerful. However, Taiwan's most powerful weapon is semiconductors. Taiwan is a superpower in semiconductors. Without it, the world would literally shut down. Economies will collapse and entire civilizations will turn to nothing. That is what Taiwan has affirmed when it comes to its influence in the world. China depends on Taiwan's semiconductors. because semiconductor quality plays an important role in many export devices and electronic components. Examples include cell phones, cameras, televisions, washing machines, refrigerators, and LED bulbs, computer CPU processors, so on. If Taiwan refused to supply China with these semiconductors, it would mean shutting down Chinese industries and consumer production. Taiwan can also use semiconductors as a springboard for deeper purposes toward China. One point to mention here is Taiwan's semiconductors provide the backbone of the global economy. 75% of the world's IC production capacity is based on it. When it comes to the most advanced manufacturing technologies, Taiwan today outperforms the US. For instance, up to 92 of the world's microchips manufacturing capacity of 10 nanometers or less is currently located in Taiwan. Saying that is to see how important Taiwan is to the global economy. China simply cannot run its own machine without using Taiwanese chips. Although China has been trying to get its own semiconductor technology for many years, they have yet to make any progress in this area. This further pushes China to invade Taiwan to access Taiwan's achievements in semiconductors. If these resources fall into China's hands, the whole world will have to compromise with China's ambitions. When China steps up its invasion of Taiwan, many countries will intervene, not only because of its political position, but also because of its economic influence. On the other hand, China will have to not only confront the strong resistance of the Taiwanese people, but also resist a powerful military force if they invade the island. Taiwan will turn the South China Sea into a graveyard for China. Taiwan is deploying a large number of minefields in the sea near China at lightning speed. That means the Chinese Navy will explode even before reaching the mainland of Taiwan. In January, Taiwan added new naval mine layers to its defense to counter the growing threat of China aggression. President Tsai Ing-wen personally presided over the commissioning ceremony of the Navy's No. 1 and No. 2 squadrons. As such, the Taiwanese Navy will have a separate fleet for naval mine-laying operations. These squadrons will install a large number of small but powerful torpedoes in the waters around Taiwan. In addition, they will take down these mines at a fast speed without the need for divers. Taiwan is doing this for three main reasons. First, Taiwan wants to prevent a Chinese invasion. Exploding mines will prevent Chinese ships from sailing toward the island nation. Second, Taiwan is aiming to boost its defense industry. For example, the ships being used by these mine fleets were built by Longtae Shipbuilding Company, a major player in Taiwan's arms industry. Third, Taiwan is seeking to reduce its dependence on the U.S. defense regime. Under the Joe Biden administration, Taiwan has grown increasingly suspicious of the will of the United States to have the courage to stand up to China in any event of Chinese military aggression. Therefore, Taiwan took the initiative to save itself. The main threats towards Taiwan are from China's air invasions. Taiwan is also rapidly bolstering its defense capabilities. The country has invested heavily in the Harpoon coastal defense cruise missile system and the Stinger mobile air defense missile system. In addition to them, Taiwan's Tiancong-3 defense system and the U.S. Patriot PAC-3 will also help Taiwan shoot down any flying threats coming from China. All in all, Taiwan is ensuring that China's expansionist ambitions to occupy Taiwan will lead to serious harm to Beijing and ultimately an embarrassing retreat of the Chinese military. Taiwan is clearly feeling more confident and encouraged after the support of governments like Japan, Australia, and India. These democracies not only strengthen Taiwan's defense capabilities, but also help Taiwan develop its economic muscle. Taiwan is rapidly expanding its semiconductor industry to make China increasingly dependent on Taiwan-made electronic chips. Taiwan and China can be compared to ants against mammoths. However, Taiwan's determination to end China's autocracy is exceptionally strong. So, if the PLA wants to continue to cause trouble in the hotly contested waters of the South China Sea, it must stay away from Taiwan waters. Otherwise, Taiwan's minefields would turn China's disputed Taiwan waters into a graveyard for Beijing's ambitions. What if China took over Taiwan? Taiwan is ready to completely eliminate microchip manufacturing facilities. This will cause a global crisis in semiconductors, of which China will be the biggest hurt. Although many countries around the world are attracting semiconductor manufacturers to ensure that domestic supply is maintained in the event of a crisis. But China has no such alternative. The country is still completely dependent on Taiwan for semiconductors, and with Taiwan's facilities gone, China will come to a standstill. Consequently, at the present time, China is incapable of invading Taiwan. And our commentary today will end here. Thanks for your attention.